Alright guys, so in the last video we talked about the basics of strategic planning, like what is strategic planning and what are the factors that affect the strategic planning. Okay, a brief small general overview of the 5 factors that affect the strategic planning. So in this video and the further upcoming videos we would be talking about these 5 major factors in detail, about like how do they affect those strategic planning concepts, right? So starting up with the first factor. Now this first factor is known as the external environmental analysis, right? The external factors that affects the strategic planning, and we are going to have a deep detailed analysis of this external factors, right? So starting up with legal and regulatory factors. So see, now these legal and regulatory factors are basically the code of conduct of the organizations and the regulatory bodies of the organization. Now, don't mix these two terms. Legal is a separate term and regulatory factors are separate term. And furthermore, the regulatory factors are furthermore divided into the two categories, and these are known as social regulations and the industrial regulations. Right. Now, let's just quickly jump into the PPT and just go into detail about the legal and the regulatory factors. Okay, now let's talk about the legal and the regulatory factors of the company. Now, in the starting, I am saying don't combine these two terms together. Legal factors is a separate concept, and the regulatory factors is a separate concept. Okay, now when we will talk about the legal factors, so basically these includes the code of conduct for the organization or the rules of conduct for the organization. So basically, these code of conducts or the rules of conducts are imposed by the government of that particular company of a country in which that company is operating in. Okay, now these kinds of legal entities, the government of a country, the provincial state, the federal state, etc., depending upon the country policies, the legal factors are involved into strategic planning. Now, certain examples of legal factors can be the patents, copyrights, trademarks, antitrust laws, trade protectionism, environmental liability concerns, employment laws, and litigations. So, see, now when we talk about these patents, copyrights, trademarks, etc., then the legal factors are involved into strategic planning. Now, the next thing is when we will talk about the regulatory factors. So when we will talk about the regulatory factors, certain kind of regulatory agencies have been involved into a strategic planning process. Okay, so these regulatory agencies are imposed by the government to the. Now, when we talk about the regulatory factors, there are certain further two categories of regulations involved in it. Now, these are the social regulations and the industry regulations. So, social regulations talks about the government rules and regulations which are imposed on the companies, which are imposed on the factories, so that they should not misbehave with society or they should not destroy the society. They should work in the welfare of the society. So, social regulations are imposed by the government on the factories, on the businesses, in order that those businesses should operate in the means of welfare of society and not against the society. Now the certain agencies can be under social regulations, can be the EP agency, Environmental Protection Agency, that protects the environment, OSHA, that is Occupational Safety and Health Administration, basically looks towards the safety and health of the employees. FTC, that is the Federal Trade Commission, looks towards the trading policy of the producer and the customer. CPSC, that is the Consumer Product Safety Commission, it looks towards the product, that whatever the product they manufacture, that product should be qualitative and it should be safely for the consumer. It should be protective for the consumer. It should not cause any kind of harm to a consumer. Now next is the industry regulation. Now what is the industry? Industry is certain set of companies or certain set of factories that constitutes together, that combines together to form an industry. And certain regulations are imposed by the government on the whole set of industries. So those regulations or those agencies are combined or can be expressed through the industry regulations. Now, for example, if I have a plane manufacturing factory, so I work under an aviation industry. So FAA will be the regulatory body of me, that is the Federal Aviation Administration. Okay, I have a communication company, then FCC will be my regulatory body, that is the Federal Communication Commission. So if I work into the Food and Beverage Commission, food and beverage business in the world, then the FDA regulatory agency will be involved in it, that is the Food and Drug Administration. So these agencies' names and the government involved and the rules and regulations and the restrictions, laws and litigations. Now this all depends upon the country's policies and procedures. Now for example, in India, the share market is controlled and managed by the SEBI, that is Security Exchange Board of India. But when we will talk about the America, the same share market is controlled by the SEC, that is Security and Exchange Commission. Okay, that is Security and Exchange Commission of America. So SEC is the regulatory body of share market for America, and in India it is SEBI. So the functions are same, the rules and regulations are quietly same, are highly same, but the names are different. So it all depends upon the country's policy and in the environment they are working in. Now the linkage of legal and the regulatory factors in strategic planning. So see, while preparing the strategic plans, the business in which country it is operating in, it is very important to know for a businessman that in what laws and litigation and in what's legal and the regulatory factors that business is operating in. So while keeping in mind all these rules and regulations, laws and litigations, only then a company prepares a strategic plan for the next coming successful business period. Okay, now thank you so much guys. Now that's it for the legal and the regulatory factors. Now the next major category of factor, we will be talking about the market forces, industry trends and the competition. So basically under this we have a part of 5 principles, so that will be in the next upcoming video. Thank you so much guys. If you like our channel, if you like our videos, then do please like, comment and subscribe, and just check in the description we have a link at the link described as tinyurl.com USCMA part 1. So if you want to attend the free live lectures, then you can click on the link and just fill up the form for yourself, and you will be entered into the USCMA part 1 live lectures daily entry criteria. Okay, thank you so much guys. Do like, comment and subscribe to our channel.